another blitz. Hurts takes it right up the gut. Touchdown Eagles. Here's the deep ball. Got hit as he let it go. Oh, Devontae Smith. What a catch. From 54 for the win. On the way. It is there. And the Eagles remain unbeaten.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Flyin Style Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my illustrious co-host, Steve Maslij.
What's up, Matthew?
Happy New Year, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Anything you celebrate, I hope you enjoyed your holidays these past couple weekends. We enjoyed our last weekend in a game against the Cowboys where the Eagles won 41-7. It was perfect storm of domination over the Cowboys, as well as locking up the number 2 seed in the division, as well as locking up 2,000 yards for our boy Saquon Barkley on the season.
Woo!
Huge accomplishment leading into a topic that we will be getting into very shortly. But it was a very fun weekend for all Eagles fans. Everything went well. The backup quarterbacks played perfect. The game plan was great around them. The defense played stellar. You couldn't ask for a better game. What were your thoughts?
I was there, so I made it all happen, and you could thank me for everything. Because
there you have it. Stephen Maslij is the reason for the Eagles' success this year. Give him a round of applause.
No, it was a fantastic game. Fantastic game to go to. Fantastic game to watch. Straight domination, like you said, both sides of the football. The Cowboys are really not a good NFL team.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, as much as I do love trashing them, they're without quite literally all of their best players on both sides of the ball outside of Micah Parsons.
Good, and they still are.
Who we want in there so that he can complain and make stupid comments about why they lost to the Eagles afterwards.
Oh, my goodness. That comment is blood boiling to me.
Outside of 5 plays, it was really a close game, honestly.
Yeah, so you take away all the Eagles' points, too, and they don't win the game. So
yeah, take away the scoreboard and those 5 big plays, and we
He
would have won
literally
that
said
game.
that.
The Cowboys would have won that game.
He said that. Not joking. How do you say that? You've been playing football forever. I don't get it, dude. But regardless, it was a fantastic game. Everyone looked fantastic. Obviously, Saquon looked great. Smitty had 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown got a touchdown. I thought that one-hander he should have caught. Is Tanner McKee the new starter for the playoffs? Maybe. We'll find out this week. Clearly, both quarterbacks are just as good as Jalen. The system is clearly just made for any quarterback to be good, and it just shows that anyone can be good in this offense. Isn't that right, Matthew Mitchell?
No, let's not be too sarcastic now. You don't want people getting the wrong idea, because there are people out there that genuinely think this, which is insanity, including our own Philadelphia radio show, WIP. But
so
aside from that, I was actually very pleased with the fact that you heard me on last week's podcast that I was complaining that they tried to throw Kenny Pickett into a Jalen Hurts system. And I was pleased to see going into this week that they were running the ball under center a lot more and running a more, diverse play style around Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee and what they're capable of doing. And it was clear. It was clear that they were a lot more comfortable with what they were doing, and it was working much better. And the Cowboys defense tried to do the same thing that the Commanders did to us in stacking the box and trying to keep Saquon out of it and let those guys beat us over the top. And as you saw, because we switched up the offense and put them in a position to make better throws, they were able to make those plays over the top because they didn't have those guys back. And it was not that defensive strategy wasn't going to work the same way because they actually developed a game plan around Kenny Pickett and obviously not around Tanner McKee, but they're 2 very similar quarterbacks that can step into the same system. So I was pleased that the play calling was much more diverse and better qualified for our quarterbacks. And they both looked fantastic, honestly. They both made great throws, great decisions. It sucked that, Kenny Pickett got hurt again and re-aggravated his ribs, but it was nice to see Tanner McKee step in there and make 3 passes for 2 touchdowns. That was pretty dope. And 1 pass to A.J. Brown out of bounds, and one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Oh, my goodness.
So
there's a video of me calling for that ball, too. Not joking. I'm not actually joking. But
you have a video of what?
This guy Bubba, this TikToker, you can hear me in the background. Throw it to him, throw it to him, throw it to him. Because right before me, Mike, and O'Malley go, WIP tomorrow morning, is Tanner McKee better than Jalen Hurts? And then we're like throwing the ball. But
yeah, I mean, I was honestly quite impressed with Tanner McKee, and although the conversation never should have included Jalen Hurts, I do think that it was a reasonable conversation to say, who would you rather see out there, Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee? Because I do think they bring similar things to the table, but I do think that Tanner McKee has a little bit more of the physical traits. But at the same time, I'm a guy sitting on my couch, not the coaches that watch them practice every day of the year. So, I don't doubt their decision to have him as the third-string quarterback. But what I've seen out of him in preseason and now in that game against the Cowboys, like his arm talents look more impressive than Kenny Pickett's from what I can tell.
You're also not the guy writing the check to Kenny Pickett for way more money. So
exactly, I understand. I understand. So but when you're going into a Super Bowl, I think that the money shouldn't really matter that much. If you're going into this situation where Jalen Hurts somehow still hasn't come out of concussion protocol, which means that it was a pretty decently bad concussion, and you might have to go into this wild card game with a backup quarterback, I'm not sure which one I'd rather see. But I don't think that you're in bad hands with either. I think that they both pretty much bring the same thing to the table, and they both make pretty good decisions and accurate throws. So I think that the biggest thing to take out of this game against the Cowboys was that it gave us at least a smidge of confidence that if we have to go into the playoffs with a backup quarterback, that we're not just totally screwed.
What is your level of concern of Jalen? Since, do you think there's, if you were to give it a percentage that he's going? I feel like it's 90.
Like a percentage of worry or a percentage of him playing?
Yeah, him playing.
Well, truthfully, it's dwindling for me, actually.
Really?
Yes, I'm deeply concerned that he hasn't even touched a practice field yet at all, even walkthroughs. So I mean, there's genuine concern that he might not play in this game, and I'm pretty much 50-50 right now that he might play, he might not. I don't really know what to expect. Obviously, this week is going to give us more of an idea of what to see. But then again, even if he does play, now I have growing concern that he hasn't played in 3 weeks and is just going to step back into this offense. And I'm not thinking that he can't do it, but it does throw off the rhythm of what they have going right now. And it's just a strange situation. I hate to see our quarterback have to come off of an injury of multiple weeks into the playoffs. And it's just such a high-stakes situation where he's already got so much pressure on him, and just adding extra pressure is a lot to ask for. So I am pretty concerned with how they're going to handle everything. But that's not me saying that if Jalen Hurts is ready for the game, you should still start Tanner McKee or Kenny Pickett. But
it kind of happened this week against the Giants.
Oh yes, against the Giants.
I'm done. No, but seriously though, it's a very valid point. But it's how can you not, as Nick Sirianni, just taking into account just all health concerns in general, and just you have to sit him and not practice. You keep him far away from the field. I know, but
I told you last week what I wanted to see. If Jalen Hurts was healthy going into this game, which he is not, that changes things. I get it. But if he was healthy enough to go into this game, I didn't want to see him play a whole game, but I did want to see him play a series or two just to get his feet back under him for a moment. And it kind of bums me out that we're not going to see that. Not to mention that I wanted the whole offense to be out there for a few series, to not just for Jalen, but for Saquon, which we have now found out that he is not going to play in Sunday's game, which is a big disappointment to not just Eagles fans, but the whole NFL, honestly.
Now I mean, just look at how the league's going in general. It's going to be hard to ever get this record, even come close to it ever again.
Not to mention, out of every player on that 2,000 yards list, you've never seen a name pop up twice.
Yeah, except did Derrick Henry get twice?
No, he's close this year to his second, but he's only done it once.
Damn. Well, it's insane, and it's kind of saddening. I understand the reason they did it. clearly injury concerns, and for not even just Saquon, but for the entire line, because you have to put the whole offense out there. I mean, yeah, you could sit AJ and Smitty.
You can't realistically put Saquon out there with the backup O line.
You can't. Yeah, that would be asinine. That would be stupid. But at the same time, I feel like if you did play him, the entire conversation is how long would you play him? / like if he has 60 yards at half, like you got this far, you might as well just keep playing him to the fourth quarter. Like, you know what I mean? And then it kind of just like lingers. Yes, we would like him obviously to get it in the first half, pull him out of the game. Yeah. But it just doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, then how far do you go?
I mean, I think that every Eagles fan is coping with it in different ways, because I think that everybody in their mind understood that it could go either way, and that the smart move, obviously, is to keep him out of this game. But it's a moment of history. It's not just something that gets attached to Saquon. It gets attached to the O-line, to the coaches, to the franchise, and to the league, and probably wouldn't be broken again for another 40, 50 years. And it's, to have that attached to the Eagles name is something that everybody wanted to see. And truthfully, I can't, I wanted to fool myself all week and say, I won't be that mad if they don't play him, but I'm pretty upset about it. I mean, just because it's a missed opportunity. It's something that's probably only there once, and you have the opportunity to get it. And 101 yards is so doable. It's much less than I thought we were going to walk into the last game with. And I know that I had said in previous weeks that it would have to be around 50 yards for him to play. And I think that still stands true. If he was probably at 50 yards, they probably would have. But I'm sitting in a boat now where in my mind, it's probably an unfair reason, but if you go on and lose before you make it to the Super Bowl now that's 2 disappointments in the season. Like, it's a double disappointment. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I just
that's unfair of me as a fan, but I'm just saying that's like, now if we don't go and win a Super Bowl, I'm going to be doubly disappointed in what our decisions were.
I will say one thing though, and I heard this point come across WIP earlier. If you were going for the record, it would have been he wouldn't have set Saquon on that last drive of the Dallas game. Do you know what I mean? Like, he got the 2,000 and he sat him. Like, you would have played him in the next drive just to try to chip away a little bit more.
As you can, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we should have saw it coming. Like, I honestly thought 100% he's playing. It seemed like he was a little upset about it, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
It does. I just thought that, with Sirianni being the guy that he is, being the player's coach that he is, the way that he asked Saquon on the sideline against the Giants, if he wanted to break his record, clearly he has it in mind. And, like, the way the players were, responding to it and the way they wanted to go for it. And it just seemed like everything was set up for it to happen. Not to mention, you couldn't ask for more of a storybook ending than for him to go to MetLife against the Giants and break it there. And it was just such a storyline. That's what makes it so disappointing. It was just such a storybook ending to what could have been like the greatest season ever. And I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Like a grumpy parent, I wanted to see them do it. I told myself I wouldn't be mad if they didn't, but I got it in my head that they were going to. And
I did too.
And unfortunately, it made me much more disappointed for when they decided not to. And my last point being just that Nick Sirianni, prides himself on being a risk guy. That was part of my reasoning of why I wanted him to go for it. But, like I said, smart move is to not play him, give our guys some rest. They haven't had rest since week 4, which is a huge factor in this.
Yes.
And not to mention that we're not going to have I think you can call it either way, but I don't think we're going to have an incredibly easy path to the Super Bowl here. So you do want to have as much rest as you can get and just make sure your guys are healthy and ready. And Saquon, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. And if you go into the playoffs without him, it would change the whole season upside down. So I get it, but I'm upset.
I will say in my car, I did for a half second actually think that maybe Sirianni it's all a smoke screen, and everyone goes out there, and Saquon goes out anyway. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I will be tuning into the first snap of the game because
everybody will be tuning into the first snap at the very least.
But never know. That would be crazy.
You never know. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it this week, and a lot of people upset about it. And who knows? Maybe they change their mind. But I wouldn't expect it, unfortunately.
I mean, going into this Giants game, though, they're coming off a big win against the Colts. I'm just kidding. We're not actually going to break down this Giants game. But this Giants team is hilarious because they decided to shoot themselves in the foot and basically lose the number one pick.
Oh my gosh, do I hope that we lose this game. Like, so bad.
Them winning last week, I don't know the exact, because I know the Patriots have 3 wins. The Browns have 3 wins.
They are the third or fourth pick right now.
It's ridiculous, dude. I mean, it's just so funny. Like, Drew Lock. I mean, what are you supposed to ask from the guy? To not try? Like, you should have sat him, put Tommy DeVito back in. I don't know.
We talked about this before. Putting Tommy DeVito in the game in the beginning was the perfect storm for the Giants because they could continue to tank while still keeping up the fans, expectancy and whatnot. And
instead, they went 35-30.
Pissed off your backup quarterback Drew Lock by telling him he was going to go in and then not putting him in. So then you put yourself those stupid idiots over there put themselves in a ridiculous situation where they didn't explain it to their players what they were doing, and they had to put Drew Lock back in to keep the peace. And look what you've done. And I love it. I love it. I
love it so much, dude.
They're such a bad run franchise, and did you see Saquon's commercial?
Yes.
That was a perfect little ending to this kind of season. But
it's amazing.
It would be in the Eagles' best interest to lose this game this week if they can do it in fashion enough that it doesn't look like they're trying to lose, and just put the Giants in a worse situation because this game means absolutely nothing to us in any way, shape, or form.
It would be kind of funny to win this game though, just because. For no reason.
So we can talk. You just say that because you have Giants friends that you could be like, oh, our backups beat the crap out of you guys.
I don't know which one's funnier, so I win either way. If they beat us,
it would be so much funnier.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think our backups are better than their starters still.
Malik Neighbors is just going to ball out for no reason. Him going up to the press conference and going, well, we play every game to win. I mean, what are you supposed to have the guy do, though, to be honest? Like, you got to, I don't know. Want him not to try, not to get touchdowns, not to.
That's the reason that the Giants are in this situation. Of course, the Giants front office made it clear that they wanted to lose. But it's not like they can go into the locker room and say, hey, guys, we want to lose these next 4 games. They can't say that. They won't say that. And that's why you got the result that you got. Because the players are never trying to lose, ever. That's why I get mad when people try to say it's rigged, like, oh, they were tanking. Like, no, nobody's tanking. Every player out there wants to win. Whether they do or not, and whether their coaches put them in a position to or not, can be differentiated. But they always want to go out there and play their best game. I promise.
You have to. Not only a lot of these guys are playing for different contracts, aka Drew Lock, in other chances, and you're gonna get hurt if you tank. You can't tank in football. Like, you can by not putting guys in.
And now that the season's over, I feel like I got to bring this back. So I can't even say that I was right because even I was outrun with my take. But Sam Darnold, dude.
I don't
bringing it back from the first week of the season. Who could have thought that Sam Darnold was going to have the year that he's having and be in MVP conversation at the end of the year?
I mean, it's just insane that the Lions and them are competing for a game where one of them will have the entirety of the playoffs at home, and the other one won't have a home playoff game at all. And
it's crazy.
Both have 14 wins.
It's the first game in NFL history to have 2 teams at 14 wins play each other.
It's insane, dude. And
in the regular season, sorry,
it's just like it's kind of sickening because you got I'm not calling the Bucks or Rams anything. Like, but it's like
I think this could be a game-changing year that they might. I've seen it posted multiple times in as a what if, and I think this could be a game-changing year where they might take away the divisional seeding and make it into conference seeding just in general. Like the Eagles would be the 3 seed, the Vikings would be 2, Lions would be 1, or vice versa, or whatever. And it just goes off of record. I've even seen some that I actually think it would be interesting. I don't think that they'll do it, but it would be cool if they took out conferences in general and just seeded off of record.
So no divisions?
No divisions, no conferences. You can play either side, and it just goes off of seeding goes off of record.
So no more rivals anymore. That would be kind of sad.
I don't think that would necessarily be the case. And anyway, this is playoffs. You still face your rivals 2 times a year.
Oh, I thought you were saying like the divisions in general.
No, I'm not saying take out divisions and conferences in general. I'm saying for the playoffs.
Oh.
So you don't just play the NFC on one side. Like you can play either side during the playoffs, and it just goes off of record seeding.
Interesting.
I think it would be cool, but I understand that probably won't happen. But I think it would be a cool thing.
I mean, it would be awesome, honestly.
Because sometimes I do think it's a little stupid when you get an easy, like one side gets an easy path to the Super Bowl because the NFC is better than the AFC or vice versa. And you don't get to see a team on the other side that you wanted to see play against. You don't get to see you can't see a Eagles Chiefs or Eagles Bills or Eagles Ravens until the Super Bowl.
I guess the only argument to that is that you have to earn the right to play the best team from that conference, best team from this conference, and I guess that's the only reason it probably won't change, because they want the Super Bowl to be
the best game possible.
You have never seen this before, this. You don't get this matchup. You know what I mean? Type thing.
Hold on one second. My little pal back here is chatting with me with his little buttons.
It's awesome, dude. He's
wants getting to play. Tired of me being on live. So,
oh, he just wants Saquon to play. That's what he's saying, dude.
No, he's saying Saquon should play.
Yeah.
Play.
At least that's so funny you clicked that.
He's just trying to chime in. I get it.
Oh, but yeah, going into this game, I mean, I knew you brought this up, but so basically, in order to find out who we're playing, Washington has a tiebreaker for the 6th seed over Green Bay at the moment. So Washington would have to lose and Green Bay would have to win. If both teams lose, it would stay the same of playing Green Bay. Do you want one or the other, or do you think it's going to be just – what do you think going into this? Are you cheering for Washington to lose and try to make her play Washington again, or do you not are you just screw it, we're the better team regardless? Because they're both 2 teams that we beat.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that I'm not particularly worried about either of them, and I don't think that either side is more worrisome than the other. I mean, sorry, my boy is getting really upset over here.
Oh.
But what do you want to say? Hi, come here.
Power. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Hi, buddy. Hi, Apollo.
First guest appearance on the show.
No, it actually is. Apollo, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Apollo.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. You get it. All right.
Such a cutie. Dude, how could you yell at that little angel?
I can't. It's difficult. He knows how to play off the cue card, but he's a puppy. They can be a little buggers sometimes, but
so cute.
Anyway, back to what we were doing before I was rudely interrupted by my little co-host over here. I don't think that I would have a problem with either team. I think that it would be shocking for the Commanders to beat us 2 times. I don't think they should have beat us the second time. and they were playing us with a backup quarterback and one of our defensive leaders out on the other side. And I think there was like a perfect storm for them to win that game, and they barely did. So I don't think like the Commanders at no point this season have worried me particularly. And then on the other side, I do think that Green Bay, and don't get me wrong, they play with some heat. Like obviously in that game against us in the second one, Jane Daniels played a great game. Their defense played a good game. And although I think that the odds were completely stacked against us for obvious reasons, they did a good job with what they were handed, and they kept it close and ahead the entire time. So, there's my only worry over there. And on the other side, the Packers, they just tend to get hot later in the season, and that's my only concern with them. They play their best football at the end of the year, and they played some good games in the playoffs last year, so they have a little bit of experience in playoff atmosphere. But again, I said at the beginning of the year, I haven't exactly changed my mind, and Jordan Love is still overrated. And I don't think that they have a ton of talent on that team, and losing Jair Alexander for the rest of the year definitely hurts them in the back end. So I'm not terribly concerned with either team. Not to mention, sorry, before you go, I didn't mean to cut you off. The big thing about the Packers that makes me feel better as well is that if you go up and down their schedule, they haven't beaten anybody good. The best team they've beaten this year is the Rams.
I mean, they only lost to Minnesota, Lions, and us.
Yeah, I'm aware. They've lost to I heard our good friend Justin Morgenstein on the radio today talking about it, and he compared them to Penn State and in the way that they beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, but they lose to the good teams. And that's kind of where they're at. They beat the teams they're supposed to, like they do, but whenever they're faced with a tough challenge, they don't win. And I don't think that they're quite good enough to get over the hump yet. I just don't at no point have I thought they have enough talent to get there. Even if they can get halfway there.
I will say, just Jordan Love having playoff experience, I'd definitely rather play the Commanders. I think they're a little more lackluster as a team, and I think we've shown that we're more dominant over them. That Green Bay game is, I don't even know if it you could say it's week one is so long ago, regardless of whether it's weird circumstances in Brazil and no one's their team that they are now. I know they have injuries and everything, but just the pure fact. What?
I said it doesn't even feel like it was this season anymore. But sorry,
I know, dude. I kind of forget it sometimes. But they have. I just that little playoff experience, and then it's not that this scares me, but when they went in and beat the crap out of Dallas, for everyone was like, oh, they are
they show up at the right times, and that's the only thing about them that scares me.
I think we're better than both regardless, and I would not be scared per se, but I definitely rather play the Washington Commanders. First time,
I don't think that's unfair. I think that's totally fair to say, and I don't even necessarily disagree with you. I just don't really have a preference because I think there's, I think that I think the Commanders have more talent than the Packers, but I think the Packers show up late in the season better than the Commanders do, and I think that it's pretty 50-50. I couldn't really care less who we play, honestly. I think that they're both games that we should win, and if we don't, then we weren't going to go very far in the first place. So
I kind of have to say I really didn't think about Jalen not playing for as long as he had, and you're kind of scaring me with that.
I know.
I don't want to repeat it, but
I didn't think there was any possibility we could be scared about it, but it's real. It's definitely real.
That thought hasn't hit my head, and I kind of don't like it at all. And it's kind of just been lingering for a while, and that's why I just thought of it because we talk about the playoffs and everything.
The fact that he's going into this next week, which is playoff week, without having practiced once yet, is concerning. It's definitely concerning. And when these long concussions tend to happen, it's those ones, if he hasn't done anything yet, then you understand what the implication is. It's a lingering one. It's really lingering, and that's not ideal. And concussion protocol is a set of things that you have to be able to do. And if he can't do it, he can't do it. So he has to pass all these tests. And I've been in a situation before where I got a concussion and it didn't feel like it was much. It didn't feel like it was bothering me much. But for the love of me, I could not pass the concussion test, the the shapes and colors and whatnot. I couldn't do it for some reason, even though I felt like I was perfectly fine. And it took me 3 weeks to be able to get back on the field, 3-4 weeks to get back on the field because I just couldn't pass this test and get a high enough score to pass me. So, I don't know what kind of things Jalen Hurts is feeling or doing right now, but the fact that he's not even being seen out on the practice field it's like now it's almost game week, and it's concerning.
Yeah, but we don't have to worry about that right now. We're not in playoff week at the moment, but we will be back next week to speak on such a great topic, which I'm so excited for. It's kind of even last week I was like, all right, let's just roll the Cowboys. Let's have a fun game, and it was literally
it was a great
everything
game.
I could ask for more.
It was a perfectly fun game.
Oh, it was everything I could ask for more. Saquon getting 2,000, just beating the crap out of them. It was awesome. But now it's like, all right, I have to wait another week and a half. All right, let's go. Like, hurry it up. But I'm so excited for the playoffs to be here.
Football, baby.
I'm just excited in general. One last question before we cut this off, and it was the Lions and the Vikings. Do you have a preference who is the 1 seed or who is not the 1 seed?
I mean, a preference?
Like I'm just going to preface it. I'll preface the question a little different. If we were to make it to NFC Championship, would you rather play in Detroit or in Minnesota?
Well, like smartly, I would much prefer to play in Minnesota. But
yeah.
I personally would prefer to see them play the Lions in the championship, I suppose. Just out of, the Lions have been the talk all year. They've been the guys. They've been the 1 seed since the very beginning and been named like the number 1 team. And they've been the only team in front of us all year. And if we could go in there and beat them up and make it to the Super Bowl through that, it would feel a lot more fulfilling. But if you go and play the Vikings, I think their fans are less worrisome than Lions fans. Their team isn't quite as good as the Lions are. And that stadium isn't going to get as jumping as the Lions stadium would be. So, not to mention, we've already gone in there before and beaten the crowd. Oh, actually, they came to Philly, sorry. But either way, I would like our chances against the Vikings more than the Lions, but I think I'd rather play the Lions.
Yeah.
Out of pure entertainment.
I would agree with you there. Another thing I'm looking at this weekend, which, I mean, you could do whatever you want with this, but I really, really, really want the Bengals to make the playoffs.
Oh, so do I.
Dude,
they would become such a they would be the perfect wild card team.
They would play the Chiefs if they were to win their first round game.
It would be really interesting.
A divisional round matchup. Oh my gosh. But
it could be really interesting. And honestly, I don't. Do you know what the scenario is for them to make?
Yes, I do. So the Bengals have to win. Number 1, they're playing Saturday. They have to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. That's yeah. And then they need help. So they need Carson Wentz to beat the Broncos. And they also need Miami to lose. So,
well, Miami, I know they did pretty well without Tua last week, but they're going in without Tua again.
They're playing at the Jets.
That is concerning for Bengals fans, but
you tell me that a Broncos.
But in the same boot, it's Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Jet probably, so he might try to ball out.
But the Chiefs have all their backups to do. You think they will even want to play the Bengals? They just lose the game and then they don't have to play. I mean, you can just get concepts out of it and basically do a film run for if you were to play the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that game's still gotta go well. But I'm telling you, man, Carson ain't gone yet. Carson's gonna do everyone a favor. I'm telling you.
I'm sure he'll play great.
I actually saw an article today. You would find this funny. I saw an article today talking about how Wentz is primed to be the next Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield coming out of somebody's back end and revitalizing their career.
I mean,
it's not unrealistic. I mean, it'll be 2 years now or 3 years that he's played under Sean McVay and Andy Reid. and played under good quarterbacks.
I forgot Sam Darnold was an MVP, like basically an MVP before he got hurt too. Oh wait, that never happened.
There's no saying you can't revitalize, man. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I know what you're saying, but this is Sam Darnold is I can't comprehend it. And if he actually beats the snot out of us in an NFC Championship, I think I might cry.
You know what's crazy? I just expected Sam Darnold to have a good year because I thought he was just going to do well with their team. But I've watched him play, and he makes some of the best passes I've seen all year. Like, I was really shocked, like genuinely shocked by how much of the eye test he passed. Like, I thought that like things were just going their way, everything was like falling in place. Like, no, he's making good throws over there. Like, he's flicking his wrist, and the ball's going 40 yards downfield on a line, and it's like
a combination of good coaching and good teammates around you. Like,
it is, and I was really personally shocked by how talented he actually is throwing the ball. Like, I didn't think that he had that in his arsenal, which I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He was a 3rd overall pick, but he looks good. He looks so good. Like,
it's horrible. I want him to see Ghost again and curl up in a ball and cry. I don't know why. I don't have anything against him. I'm not a USC hater. I don't know. I should pray on his success. I don't know why.
If he keeps it up, he could be the best USC quarterback of all time. Because there aren't many. Let me tell you.
Oh, jeez.
Currently, it would be Carson Palmer. So I don't think that's a crazy level to beat.
Oh, Sam Darnold. We're going to play him in NFC Chip, and he's going to beat us, and I'm going to cry.
No, it's all right. It's another Case Keenum situation. We're good.
Yeah. Forget. Yeah. All right. Well, till next week, then we'll talk more about this. I know there's so many scenarios and everything with there's a couple good games this week. I kind of hate this week, I'll be honest, if you don't have anything to play for, because you just watch a bunch of games that are kind of crappy, and then you're like, oh, did the Ravens win? Like the Steelers, the Bengals game will be great.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a dud week. There's 2 or 3 good games that you want to keep your eye on, and that's about it. But other than that, it's definitely low implications. There's no fantasy football going on.
Oh, actually, there is for
some, I guess. I was just making the implication that
Oh yeah, Mitchell beat me in a dynasty chip of
having to win a championship this past week
of everything that had pride and joy on it. And Aaron Rodgers should be dropped, but I try not.
I can't believe you didn't drop Aaron Rodgers off the rip. Like, I would have been gone from my team. This for everyone wondering, Aaron Rodgers put up a whopping 1 point. It wasn't even 1 point. It was 0.8, wasn't it?
0.48.
0.48. Aaron Rodgers put up a whopping 0.48 in the championship game for Steven Maslij here.
It's just incredible that Matt made every wrong decision, and all I had to do is make one right decision. You made 3 wrong decisions.
I made 3 really wrong decisions, and I was terrified for it.
And if I just put in the Eagles defense by 0.3, Matt would have cried. Matt would have been so upset. He would have been. I think Matt would have actually flipped out if that happened.
I might have.
I think you might have. Yeah, your hand would definitely be broken.
Because I was gonna pull the card that I was watching the Tampa ESPN fantasy was messed up for a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but during the Buccaneers game, their defense blocked a kick and scored a touchdown on it. And I hopped on and it gave me the touchdown for it. And then I hopped back on and it took the touchdown away. And I was like, oh, did they get rid of it? And I looked in the score and they didn't get rid of it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I hopped back out and hopped back in. And there was a touchdown back in there. And I was like, oh, okay. And while I'm looking at it, it goes away again. And I was like, it just kept going back and forth for the last quarter. And then when the game ended, it officially settled on not having a touchdown there. And I was like, I'm not going to complain about that yet, but I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind because I know they scored that touchdown. And then the next day they fixed it to them having a touchdown because that was a difference of 6 points. I was like, that's huge. But it didn't come into play either way. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. But man, Mitchell beat me. And we're gonna we congratulate You know, here at the Stephen Maslij Incorporated, we like to root for people like Sam Darnold, you know. We like to pray on other people's success, and we don't like to hate. So we wish the best of luck to Zeke, who got released in free agency. And we
Hopefully
wish
he gets signed to a contender and gets himself a Super Bowl. Good for you, Zeke.
Anyway, can we end this before I say
sorry to
something?
bring that up. I just had to throw it out there for good old time's sake. But with that all being said, it has been quite a fun season. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. We're obviously going to be back for the playoffs next week, which we are incredibly excited about. Hopefully the Eagles can make a deep run so we can keep coming back to you and talk to you guys about what's going on. After the season, we'll still be hopping in here and there during the offseason, talking about things like top 100 list, talk about awards. We'll talk about free agency and stuff like that. So make sure you stay tuned with us all year round. We'll be back with you guys hopefully as soon as we can. We might take a little break, who knows. But either way, before any breaks happen, we've got playoff football coming up. We're excited about it. Hope you guys are excited about it. If you did like this video, make sure you come back next week and check it out again. And make sure to like this video on the like button and subscribe to our channel, as we will be back every week giving updates. And again, hopefully we see the Eagles make a deep run and we can be talking to you guys for a few weeks yet. So stay tuned, go Birds, and we will see you guys next week.
Let's go Birds.